In the 3rd century BCE, the Mediterranean world was alive with new ideas, trade, and discoveries. Cities competed not just for wealth and power, but for knowledge. Among them, Alexandria in Egypt stood out as a center of learning and culture. Founded by Alexander the Great in 331 BCE, it quickly became one of the most important cities of the ancient world. Its streets bustled with merchants, travelers, and scholars. Ships brought goods, ideas, and texts from distant lands. And at the heart of this vibrant city was a remarkable institution, the Library of Alexandria. The library was not merely a building filled with scrolls. It was a deliberate effort to gather the collective wisdom of humanity. Leaders of the Ptolemaic dynasty, particularly Ptolemy II, envisioned a place where knowledge from every civilization could be collected, preserved, and studied. They sent agents to acquire texts from Greece, India, Babylon, and Egypt. Traders and scholars brought back manuscripts, papyrus scrolls, and copies of important works. Nothing was considered too small or too obscure to be included. Every piece of knowledge, whether it was poetry, philosophy, astronomy, or medicine, was valued. This made the Library of Alexandria a true repository of ancient human thought. The purpose of the library extended beyond mere collection. It was designed as a center for scholarship and intellectual exchange. Scholars were invited to live, study, and teach in Alexandria. They translated works from one language to another, compared ideas, and debated theories. Great minds like Euclid and Eratosthenes are thought to have worked there, exploring mathematics, geography, and the natural sciences. The library was also connected to the Museion, or the Temple of the Muses, which functioned like an ancient research institute. This combination of resources, scholars, and vision created an environment where learning thrived. This library represented more than knowledge. It symbolized human ambition and foresight. In an age before printing presses, computers, or digital storage, information was fragile. Manuscripts could be lost to fire, decay, or war. Yet the leaders of Alexandria understood the importance of preservation. By centralizing texts from across the known world, they aimed to protect ideas for future generations. The library became a symbol of what civilizations can achieve when curiosity and careful planning come together. Exploring the Library of Alexandria is an exploration of both achievement and loss. Despite its legendary reputation, the library eventually disappeared. Historians debate the reasons: fires, invasions, neglect, or gradual decay. What remains are fragments of texts, references by other writers, and the enduring stories of its scholars. The loss is felt not only in the texts themselves, but in the potential knowledge that might have guided later civilizations. This makes the library a cautionary tale, as well as a story of inspiration. Knowledge, however well preserved, requires care and protection. Today, the library continues to inspire scholars, historians, and students. Its legacy is seen in modern institutions of learning, from universities to national libraries. It reminds us that knowledge is valuable, fragile, and worth defending. The library's story is a bridge between past and present, showing that curiosity, vision, and the desire to understand the world are timeless human qualities. Its creation teaches us about ambition and foresight. Its loss teaches us about the consequences of neglect. Both lessons remain relevant, reminding us to cherish learning and the wisdom passed down through generations. The Library of Alexandria stands as a testament to what humanity can achieve when intellect and vision align. Even without the physical building, its influence continues to shape the way we think about knowledge, education, and preservation. By studying its history, significance, mysteries, and eventual loss, we gain insight not only into the ancient world, but also into our responsibilities today. Preserving knowledge, sharing it widely, and nurturing curiosity are values that the library embodied, and values that remain crucial in every age. The story of the Library of Alexandria begins with the founding of the city itself. In 331 BCE, Alexander the Great, one of history's most famous conquerors, reached the northern coast of Egypt. He had already built an empire stretching across Greece, Persia, and parts of India. Egypt offered fertile land, strategic ports, and access to trade routes connecting the Mediterranean with Africa and the Near East. Alexander recognized the potential of this location and decided to establish a new city on the Mediterranean coast. He named it Alexandria, a city that would carry his name and his vision of connecting different cultures, ideas, and people. The location of Alexandria was carefully chosen. It sat on the edge of the Nile Delta, near the Mediterranean Sea, with easy access to inland Egypt. The city's harbor became a major trading point, welcoming ships carrying goods, people, and knowledge from all over the ancient world. Merchants from Greece, Phoenicia, India, and Africa came to Alexandria to trade spices, gold, papyrus, and luxury items. This influx of people and goods created a melting pot of cultures. Alexandria became a place where languages, traditions, and ideas from multiple civilizations could meet and interact. Its geographic advantage made it not only a commercial hub, but also a cultural and intellectual center. After Alexander's death in 323 BCE, his empire was divided among his generals. Ptolemy I, one of Alexander's trusted generals, took control of Egypt and established the Ptolemaic dynasty. His family ruled Egypt for nearly 3 centuries, focusing on consolidating power, promoting economic growth, and supporting cultural development. Ptolemy I and his successor Ptolemy II had a vision of Alexandria as more than just a trading city. They wanted it to be the intellectual capital of the ancient world. This ambition led to the creation of the Library of Alexandria, a project that would gather knowledge from across the known world and bring scholars to the city to study and innovate. Ptolemy II, in particular, played a key role in shaping the library's future. He actively collected manuscripts and encouraged translation efforts. Agents were sent to Greece, India, Babylon, and other regions to acquire texts of all kinds, from literature to scientific treatises. Ships arriving in Alexandria were sometimes required to surrender scrolls to the library for copying. Original texts were preserved, while copies were returned to their owners. This system reflected the Ptolemies' commitment to knowledge and their understanding of its value for the prosperity and prestige of their city. Ptolemy II's support transformed Alexandria into a magnet for scholars and intellectuals. During the Ptolemaic period, Alexandria grew rapidly in both population and influence. The city attracted philosophers, mathematicians, astronomers, physicians, and poets. Its streets were filled with discussion and debate, and its markets brought together people from a wide variety of cultures. The combination of wealth, strategic location, and political stability made Alexandria a fertile ground for intellectual development. Scholars from different backgrounds shared knowledge, translated texts into Greek, and preserved ideas that might have otherwise been lost. The city became a place where learning was not limited to a single culture, but was enriched by diversity and exchange. Alexandria's cultural and intellectual prominence extended beyond the library itself. The Mausoleum, or the Temple of the Muses, functioned as a research center connected to the library. It provided housing, resources, and support for scholars, creating an environment similar to modern universities. Philosophical debates, scientific experiments, and literary discussions were common in the halls of Alexandria. Innovations in mathematics, astronomy, medicine, and engineering flourished in the city. By the 3rd century BCE, Alexandria had earned a reputation as the leading center of learning in the ancient world. Its influence reached far beyond Egypt, shaping thought and knowledge across the Mediterranean and beyond. Alexandria's historical background set the stage for the creation and success of its legendary library. Founded by Alexander the Great, the city combined strategic location with economic and cultural opportunity. Under the Ptolemaic dynasty, particularly Ptolemy II, Alexandria became a hub for intellectual growth, attracting scholars and texts from all over the world. Its harbors, streets, and institutions reflected a city designed not only for commerce, but also for the preservation and advancement of human knowledge. The city itself was a living example of ambition, foresight, and the pursuit of wisdom, a fitting home for one of history's greatest centers of learning. The Library of Alexandria was built with a vision that went far beyond the walls of any ordinary building. Its primary purpose was to collect knowledge from all corners of the known world. Leaders of the Ptolemaic dynasty, especially Ptolemy II, understood the value of information and believed that gathering it in one place could advance learning and strengthen their city's prestige. They sent emissaries and agents to Greece, India, Babylon, and Egypt to acquire scrolls of literature, science, philosophy, and history. Every text was considered valuable, from poetry and drama to mathematical treatises and medical manuals. This ambitious collection strategy made the library a center of human knowledge unmatched in the ancient world. The mission of the library was not only to gather texts, but also to preserve them for future generations. In a time before printing presses, every manuscript was fragile and could be lost to fire, decay, or neglect. By centralizing the world's knowledge, the library aimed to protect it and make it accessible to scholars. Copies were made to ensure that knowledge could spread, while original texts were carefully stored. This focus on preservation shows that the library's creators understood the importance of safeguarding human intellectual achievement. They were motivated by a belief that knowledge was a treasure worth protecting, something that could improve lives and inspire generations to come. Beyond collection and preservation, the library had a vision of advancing learning through active study and research. Scholars, translators, and scientists from different cultures worked together within its walls. They did not simply store knowledge, they used it, questioned it, and expanded it. Translators worked to make texts understandable to a wider audience, often converting works from Egyptian, Hebrew, Babylonian, or Sanskrit into Greek. Scientists and mathematicians studied the stars, calculated distances, and experimented with medicine. Philosophers debated ideas and wrote commentaries, while poets and writers drew inspiration from the manuscripts they read. The library became a place where human curiosity could flourish in every field of knowledge. The presence of scholars and experts from various backgrounds created an environment of collaboration and innovation. Ideas were exchanged freely, and discoveries were shared openly. This combination of diverse minds and abundant resources allowed the library to become not just a repository of knowledge, but a hub of intellectual progress. The ambition was not limited to Alexandria. It had global implications. By bringing together texts from many civilizations, the library encouraged a synthesis of ideas that might not have occurred anywhere else. It represented a belief that learning could unite people and cultures through a common pursuit of understanding. The purpose and vision of the Library of Alexandria were extraordinary. It sought to collect knowledge from every civilization, preserve it for future generations, and use it to advance human learning. Scholars, translators, and scientists worked together to explore, expand, and share knowledge, creating a culture of curiosity and intellectual ambition. The library was a symbol of human aspiration, a place where ideas were valued, preserved and allowed to flourish. Its vision was timeless, that knowledge, when carefully collected and studied, could shape the world and inspire progress for generations to come. The Library of Alexandria was more than just a collection of scrolls. It was a carefully planned institution designed to support scholarship and learning. Although no detailed architectural plans have survived, historical accounts suggest that the library was located in the royal quarter of Alexandria, possibly as part of the Mausion, or the Temple of the Muses. The Musion was a place dedicated to the 9 Muses, the goddesses of arts and sciences. It served as a center for study, research, and intellectual exchange, providing scholars with housing, study rooms, and spaces for debate and discussion. Placing the library within or near the Mausion reflected the importance of knowledge in the city and ensured that scholars had access to both the scrolls and a supportive environment for research. The architectural layout of the library likely combined functionality with grandeur. While specific details are uncertain, accounts suggest long halls lined with shelves and storage areas for scrolls. Scrolls were made of papyrus, which required careful handling and storage to prevent damage. Some historians believe that scrolls were stored in wooden or stone containers, organized by subject, author, or region. The library may have had reading rooms where scholars could consult texts without removing them, as well as copying rooms where scribes could make duplicates for other institutions or for private use. The goal was both preservation and accessibility, ensuring that the knowledge could be studied, copied, and shared without being lost. Librarians and scribes played a crucial role in the organization and operation of the library. The head librarian, sometimes called the chief librarian, oversaw the collection, acquisition, and maintenance of scrolls. Their responsibilities included acquiring new texts, cataloging them, and ensuring their proper care. Scribes were responsible for copying texts, translating them into Greek, and sometimes creating summaries or commentaries. These scribes were highly skilled and essential to the library's mission, as they allowed knowledge to spread beyond Alexandria. The process of copying and translating texts required patience, precision, and a deep understanding of language and content. The library's organization also reflected the Ptolemaic vision of centralizing knowledge from all over the world. Ships arriving in Alexandria were often required to surrender scrolls temporarily, which were then copied by the library's staff. Original works were preserved, and copies were returned to their owners. This systematic approach ensured that the library could amass a vast and diverse collection while maintaining relationships with other cities and scholars. It also demonstrated the city's role as a hub for intellectual exchange, where information from Greece, Egypt, India, and other regions could be brought together, studied, and shared. The Library of Alexandria was carefully structured to support its dual goals of preservation and scholarship. Its location in the royal quarter or within the Mausion emphasized its importance. Long halls, shelves, and storage systems allowed scrolls to be kept safe and accessible. Librarians and scribes ensured that texts were organized, copied, and translated for the use of scholars. Together, these elements created an institution that was far ahead of its time, combining vision, planning, and human skill to serve the pursuit of knowledge. The structure and organization of the library were key to its success and its legendary reputation in the ancient world. Library of Alexandria was famous for the vast and diverse range of manuscripts it held. Its purpose was to gather all the knowledge of the known world, and it succeeded in creating a collection that spanned multiple subjects and cultures. Among its manuscripts were works of literature, including epic poetry, plays, and philosophical writings. Stories from Greece, Egypt, and Babylon were preserved, along with commentaries on morality, ethics, and the human condition. These texts, allowed scholars to study the art of storytelling, rhetoric, and ideas that shaped civilizations. In addition to literature, the library contained scientific works that explored the natural world. Treatises on physics, chemistry, biology, and the emerging field of medicine were carefully stored, reflecting an early understanding of systematic study and observation. Mathematics was another major focus of the library's collection. Scrolls on geometry, algebra, and arithmetic allowed scholars to advance the field through calculations, proofs, and theories. The works of mathematicians like Euclid, who is often called the father of geometry, were likely studied and expanded upon within the library. Astronomy was also well represented, with texts detailing observations of the stars, calculations of planetary movements, and methods for predicting celestial events. Eratosthenes, who measured the circumference of the Earth with remarkable accuracy, was among the notable scholars associated with Alexandria, and his work demonstrates the kind of advanced thinking that the library supported. Medicine, too, benefited from the collection, with texts describing anatomy, treatments, and herbal remedies from Egypt, Greece, and other regions. The library's manuscripts were written in many languages, reflecting its goal of collecting knowledge from around the world. Greek was the primary language of scholarship, but texts in Egyptian, Babylonian, Sanskrit, and possibly Hebrew or Aramaic were also included. This multilingual collection required the work of translators who could convert ideas into Greek for wider use. Translators played a vital role in ensuring that knowledge was not limited by language barriers, allowing scholars from different cultures to learn from one another. By bridging linguistic divides, the library helped create a shared intellectual heritage that could be studied, debated, and built upon. Notable scholars, such as Euclid, Archimedes, and Eratosthenes, were either directly associated with Alexandria or benefited from the intellectual environment it fostered. Euclid's geometric principles, Archimedes' discoveries in physics and engineering, and Eratosthenes' calculations in geography illustrate the level of study and innovation that the library enabled. These individuals contributed to the accumulation of knowledge and set the foundation for future scientific and mathematical developments. Their presence in or connection to Alexandria demonstrates how the library was not simply a storehouse of texts, but an active center of intellectual life. The influence and legacy of the Library of Alexandria extend far beyond its walls. By preserving texts from multiple civilizations, it ensured that important works survived, at least in part, through later generations. Scholars who studied in Alexandria carried ideas to other parts of the world, influencing education, science, philosophy, and literature. The library's approach to systematic collection, cataloging, and translation set an example for future institutions of learning, inspiring libraries, universities, and research centers throughout history. It became a model for how human knowledge could be gathered, organized, and shared for the benefit of all. The library's contributions to philosophy, science, and literature were profound. Philosophical texts encouraged debate and critical thinking, fostering the development of ethics, logic, and political theory. Scientific manuscripts allowed experimentation, observation, and the advancement of understanding in fields like astronomy, medicine, and engineering. Literary works preserve the cultural and moral stories of humanity, creating a record of human thought and expression. The library served as a bridge between cultures, ensuring that ideas were not confined to one region or one language, but could travel and inspire scholars across the ancient world. Through its scholars and translators, the library played a key role in the dissemination of knowledge. Copies of texts made in Alexandria were sent to other regions, spreading ideas and discoveries. This network of knowledge sharing helped shape civilizations and contributed to intellectual progress in ways that are still felt today. Even after the library itself was lost, its legacy lived on through the works it preserved, the methods it developed, and the scholars it inspired. In summary, the Library of Alexandria contained an extraordinary variety of manuscripts, covering literature, science, mathematics, medicine, and astronomy. Its multilingual collection and the work of translators allowed knowledge to cross cultural boundaries. Scholars like Euclid, Archimedes, and Eratosthenes benefited from and contributed to this environment of learning. The library's influence on philosophy, science, and literature, as well as its role in preserving and spreading knowledge, shaped the course of human history. It remains a powerful symbol of humanity's pursuit of knowledge and the enduring importance of preserving ideas for future generations. The Library of Alexandria is remembered not only for its greatness, but also for the mystery surrounding its destruction. Historians have debated for centuries what exactly caused the loss of this extraordinary collection of knowledge. One of the most commonly cited theories involves Julius Caesar. In 48 BCE, during his civil war in Egypt, Caesar's forces reportedly set fire to the ships in Alexandria's harbor to prevent them from falling into enemy hands. Some accounts suggest that the flames spread to parts of the city, possibly damaging the library and its precious scrolls. However, the historical record is unclear, and there is no definitive evidence to confirm that Caesar's fire destroyed the entire library. Other theories suggest that later, Roman invasions and internal conflicts contributed to the library's decline. Over the centuries, Alexandria faced political upheaval, changing rulers, and military attacks. Each of these events could have damaged or destroyed parts of the library. Some historians argue that the library may not have been destroyed in a single event at all, but rather suffered gradual decay over time. Scrolls, made of papyrus, were fragile and could deteriorate quickly without proper care. Neglect, combined with occasional fires and invasions, may have slowly reduced the library's holdings until little remained. The truth is that we may never know exactly how or when the library was lost. The lack of clear records leaves room for speculation and legend, adding to its enduring mystery. The loss of the Library of Alexandria is symbolic as much as it is historical. It represents a profound setback for human knowledge. Think of the countless works, discoveries, and ideas that may have been lost forever. Texts on mathematics, astronomy, medicine, and philosophy, some of which might have advanced civilizations more quickly, were destroyed. The library's disappearance serves as a reminder of the fragility of knowledge and the consequences of failing to protect it. It also illustrates the value that ancient civilizations placed on learning and the tragedy that ensues when it is neglected or destroyed. Despite this loss, the story of the Library of Alexandria continues to inspire efforts to recover and preserve knowledge. Scholars have attempted to reconstruct the library's contents from references in other texts, quotations by later writers, and fragments that survived elsewhere. While we cannot fully recreate the original collection, these fragments give us insight into the scope of what was once held in Alexandria. This process highlights the importance of documentation, replication, and careful preservation principles that are still vital today. Modern libraries and digital archives can be seen as successors to the Library of Alexandria. Institutions like the British Library, the Library of Congress, and countless university libraries work to collect, preserve, and make knowledge accessible to the public. Digital archives, in particular, allow texts to be stored and shared globally, reducing the risk of total loss. In a way, technology has enabled humanity to fulfill the ancient dream of a centralized, widely accessible repository of knowledge. Yet the library's story reminds us that even today, information is not immune to loss. Political instability, neglect, or technological failures could still endanger knowledge if we do not remain vigilant. The Library of Alexandria stands as a symbol of human ambition, intellect, and curiosity. Its destruction, whether through fire, decay, or neglect, represents one of the greatest losses of knowledge in history. Yet its legend continues to inspire scholars, librarians, and educators to preserve and protect information. The library teaches us lessons about the value of learning, the fragility of knowledge, and the importance of access and preservation. It challenges us to reflect on what wisdom might still be lost, hidden in forgotten texts, or waiting to be rediscovered. The story of Alexandria encourages us to treasure what we know today and to work diligently to ensure that future generations have the resources, tools, and knowledge they need to continue exploring the world. Even in absence, the library's legacy endures, reminding us that human curiosity and the pursuit of understanding are timeless, and that every effort to protect and share knowledge is a tribute to the scholars who once walked its halls.